Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
Oh, I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond.
And beyond, yeah. Today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 10B, The Tragic Flute. This episode originally aired on November 15th, 1986. We were wee boys.
Yes. I checked to see if this had any, plot relevance to the ballet, the Magic Flute. It doesn't.
Mozart? No, not even close.
It doesn't seem to have anything. So, again, I don't know why they do it, but...
What was that other episode that was...
Gone with the Nymphs.
Yeah.
But it was Gulliver's Travel. So I don't know.
Well, that's funny because it was one cultural with the Gone with the Wind, but then it actually incorporated Gulliver's Travels. Where this, I don't know, is this a story? Is there like a Aesop's fable or something?
Yeah, I was thinking that there is something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wondered because it's a very basic story, and I thought, it felt like this was something that they just kind of boiled down to get it into 11 minutes.
Yeah.
That would be bigger. The purpose of we'll get into it, but this one seemed like there was more to it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So tell us about the cast and crew, man.
This episode was written by Bob Carew and directed by Dale Scott. It was released on VHS as Ewoks 4, Wicket's Adventures as He Becomes a Warrior. Our featured cast member today is Morgan Upton, who, once again, I don't know who he voiced, but I'm going to pretend he was that crab monster in today's episode.
Yeah.
He joins the cast in season 2 in unknown roles. He had a Star Wars credit before this. He voiced some Stormtrooper dialogue in A New Hope.
Okay.
And he played the role of Mr. Hunt in the film More American Graffiti, which also has George Lucas connections. So
I wonder if we could look that up sometime and see if he was like the move along,
yeah.
What if he is, right? I mean, this is that guy.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh, man. That's great.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Synopsis, Season 2, Episode 10B, The Tragic Flute. We open to Princess Nisa relaxing on the edge of a tide pool by the seashore. She accidentally loses her ankle bracelet in the water. While she panics and wonders what to do, a large sea creature emerges from the pool and asks her, "What's wrong?" The creature shows her a few gold and jeweled anklets before revealing her own, which she claims immediately. Because Nisa was honest and didn't take the ones that were clearly more valuable, he gives her the other anklets as a reward and disappears. Nisa immediately goes off to tell her friends. This seemed like a total trap to me.
It did.
Anyway, Wicket is suspicious, but Latara is jealous. Latara wants something shiny and valuable too. Thinking she can trade the flute the gang made for her, she goes off to the tide pool herself, drops her flute into it, and waits impatiently for the creature. The creature emerges and shows her 2 exquisite gold flutes before showing her the one that belongs to her. She claims they are all hers, and the creature traps her in its shell and as punishment for being greedy. The others see her being taken. Teebo calls a water creature to take them into the ocean, but is only able to conjure a tiny guppy. The small fish informs the group it was probably King Elbow, who tests creatures for greediness and honesty, and if they fail, takes them to his coral castle at the bottom of the sea. Teebo knows immediately why she failed. He knows her too well.
Yes.
Pleading for help, the guppy blows them a magical sea bubble to take them to the bottom of the sea. The bubble goes out of control, and they are conveniently sucked right into the heart of the coral castle. The group discovers Latara almost immediately. She is imprisoned in the grasp of a sleeping squid. Wicket causes a commotion to distract the squid while the rest of the group grab Latara. King Elbow discovers them trying to escape and traps them in a crate. They plead with the king to let her go, but he won't. Unless Latara passes another test. If she fails this one, they all will be taken prisoner instead of her alone. Latara is released into a massive chamber full of riches with the task of finding the most valuable thing in it. The king shows the rest of the group the consequence of her failure, while Latara is tempted by pretty much everything in the chamber until she finds her lousy flute. Before tossing it to the side, she is reminded by the fact that the group made it for her. She immediately runs out and declares her flute is the most valuable, and the king releases everyone confident that Latara has learned her lesson. Tebow calls their guppy friend, but this time actually summons a massive creature to return home. Before hopping inside, she slyly asks the king what his plans were with the other flutes. The rest of the gang quickly grab her, and they set off. Roll credits.
Now, I would argue that there is no tragic flute in this whole episode.
Yes.
Did a flute lead to tragedy? I don't know.
No, it was greed that led to tragedy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right. I thought Nisa's voice was really crazy in this episode. Did you pick up on that at all?
I don't know.
No?
This felt like the first Nisa-centric episode in a long time. I
Yeah.
kind of forgot what she sounded like, right? We only
True.
usually get little bits. Even Latara, I was just like, oh, she really does talk like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Everything. I was like, well, I didn't even recognize that until like there's
Yeah.
like large swaths
I
of
don't
her
know.
talking.
It just felt to me like everybody was amped up. Like Tebow was really over the top. Latara and Nisa, I felt like
Wicket
were just
did
like
too.
really, just
He
like
sounded
really
very bubbly.
going for it in a weird way. So
Yeah, I
don't
don't know.
But yeah, I agree with what you were saying before. It does kind of feel like this is based on some sort of fable or something that I can't like quite get my mind around what it is. But I know the story. I'm familiar with this. However, I've experienced it before.
I know. It seems like the person who helps the stranger on the road, and then two people passed by and didn't help, and then a random person, kind of like the Good Samaritan story, right? Where that they reward that person for helping them.
Right.
It almost seems like that's why I was like, oh, this must be like an Aesop's fable as far as like being greedy, But here we are again. This story was one of those moral lessons, right? About greed, and I thought
for sure.
I like this. I don't know about you, but I really like this episode. But it did seem like it. I feel like the other episodes were Star Wars episodes or Ewoks episodes that had a moral point to it. Mm-hmm. Where this one was focused completely on the moral point.
Yeah, it was.
And kind of didn't focus on like, oh, there's like where did this guy come from and why does he do that? That's really weird. Like, that's unexplainable, right?
Yeah,
that's what he does. He's king. So what he's wasting, like, I guess, who's taking care of the kingdom if he's walking around guessing people?
I thought when they're in the bubble and they're going underwater and there's this whole kingdom, I was like, well, that's new information. There's
your episode there. Right?
There's a whole kingdom underneath the water. But
oohing and eyeing, that was great.
Yeah, it was definitely a morality tale more than anything else.
Yeah.
But I think it worked. I think it was a good in and out, just like boom, there you go. You're hit with your lesson. I thought when King Elbow or whatever his name is was like, all right, if she chooses right, you all can go home. If she chooses wrong, you're stuck here forever. And they so readily agree. I'm like, I'm not trusting Latara.
Yeah,
no way.
Like, and then I forgot to add in there too. I completely forgot to add in that they were like scheming to like try and escape because they knew Latara was going to fail. That's so great.
Latara really planted one on Tebow. That was quite a kiss.
Oh, I forgot to put that in there too. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Like, well, that relationship's fun. The building blocks of
I guess so.
are being set. Here we go.
I guess it is. Yeah. I thought Latara had a lot of like reminded me of Muppet Babies era Miss Piggy in this episode. A lot of her like her big reaction to the jewels and her trying to like
total
get
diva
like, stuff in the end. It's just very baby Miss Piggy. So I could see a little bit of that in there.
Oh, that is right. She is like the total like diva, bubbly and crazy and loud. I don't care. Yeah. That's what she seemed like. Just whatever's the shiniest. That's what I want
for sure. I mean, you said it. This doesn't feel very Star Warsy, which is a thing we've said since day one.
Yeah.
But I think because this was so laser focused, it didn't. I feel like we're hardly ever in Endor. We were in this undersea kingdom, So
yeah,
kind of a weird episode, but I'll allow it. It was entertaining.
Yeah, it was. After I finished it, I was like, huh.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Like they're like they found it. They came back to like the moral lesson story instead of being 25 minutes. Now they're doing like the 12-minute episode, and it works.
Yeah,
like they finally got it, and I think the episodes just are better when they focus, when they have a real clear moral aspect to it, or maybe not moral, but just like a life lesson, right? Mm-hmm. Where this was a life lesson on greed. I'm sure there's like a billion ways to do it, but not always in life will you say, no, that one's not mine. No, that one's not mine. Oh, that one's mine. And then they give you all of them anyway. It's not going to happen. Like, you're just going to be, yep, that one's mine. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I thought maybe these ones were yours too.
Sometimes the episodes that are so focused on like, all right, we got to get this moral across have been cheesy or campy.
I think you're right. Yeah, they've been a little bit.
But this one, it was almost like it just gave them a focus, because so often the episodes lack a focus or a purpose. And this was like, let's get this point across. And like I said, just kind of in and out real quick. And yeah, it worked.
Well, they dropped the ultimate peril. Like, that was the first season. Half of the first season was like, the planet is going to die, or we're all going to be doomed, right? That was the thing. We're all going to be doomed. And it's just like, how many episodes can we take this that, like, if they do this one, we need to travel across the desert and the floating forest and everything to pull a lever so that the world won't blow up. It's just, does that work with kids? I just don't feel like that works with kids.
I don't know. I guess I felt like some of the weirdness was in making this like the king of an undersea, like you're right. I mean, shouldn't he have better things to do than
like the trickster, not the king? It would be like the
morality police or something like. We've had so many just like weird mystical creatures pop up, the Leaf Queen or whatever. To have this just be like an undersea like wizard or something would have made more sense to me than having it be like the king.
Exactly.
I just thought that was strange, because like, who made him the arbiter of like what's right and wrong? Like, is his sole mission in life to like trick children into being selfish? So it's
like a hobby. Like,
it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, you pull the threads and it makes no sense. So I guess we shouldn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're kind of tempting people, so it's like unfair. But
yeah, for sure.
But I think that was the one drawback of the episode, was the concept of King Elbow.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the backbone of the story.
Right.
That, like, everything revolves around.
Me out of this episode is
what's happening right now. It's just.
I did hate his character design. I mean, he was like a weird crab with a handlebar mustache. Like, I didn't really understand
his mustache. So I'll just go right into my Oak of Arc.
Sam. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
My Oak of Arc was him. The concept of him.
I think that makes sense.
Like, I thought it would have been better if it was like a pool. A talking fountain, like, oh, is this? And it would like reveal
true.
The anklet. Oh, no, that one's not mine. Okay, and it would reveal another one. No, and then it would suck you in or something and trap you. But like a sentient being that like emerges from the water that just happens to have 2 sparkling anklets and 2 sparkling flutes. Yeah. Like, this dude's holding all I mean, what if somebody dropped in like a car battery because they wanted to charge the electric eels? Was this car battery yours? It's like a golden car battery. Right. Like, no,
I had a Die Hard with a full warranty, actually.
So his character just didn't make any sense, and I agree. His artwork, his design just was like, has like a conch shell. He's got like a weird like yeti face, but his mustache wasn't whiskers. Those looked like a crab legs.
Maybe they were. It was a lot going on.
Legs. It was
too
much.
The design, the fact that the thing opened like a trunk so he could put Latara inside of his shell was just.
He's got a boot.
That was that was all weird. That was all weird. That's like, your Oak of Arc. That's just
just him. Like his. I just thought, what a great idea, but that character was just ridiculous. I don't know. That was weird.
Makes sense.
What about you?
I mean, I mentioned it already, but I thought a lot of the voice work in this was really shoddy, and there was a few things, like in the very beginning when Nisa loses her anklet, she's very like, oh, just like big and huge. Yeah. And then Tebow makes some joke and has this laugh that was just like nails on a chalkboard to me. That almost killed me. But the thing that I really couldn't take was when Latara goes back and he pulls out like the bejeweled flute and she says, "Whoa, honey." I hated that so much.
That was pretty bad. I agree.
Terrible. So that was the thing I hated the most. What did you like the most? What's your Ichiwawa moment?
I really liked, and it's only because I feel like I've used this one before, that creature at the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
The 2 eyes, but then like the 25 legs.
Yes.
Kind of thing. They use that sound from the Return of the Jedi.
Oh, cool.
In that little cut scene at Jabba's palace. They have that like giant toad that like licks up that like little,
Yep.
I don't know, it's like a little gopher squirrel.
I remember
It's
the
so
last time they
nice.
used that. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, there it is. And I just love that because that's so iconic from my childhood. So that's a total member berry that I chewed up and I loved it. Every time I hear that, I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
OG Star Wars.
That makes perfect sense. Yep.
My little dopamine drip just dripped. There it is. So what about yourself? What was your favorite part? Was your Ichiwa?
Yes, when they're like, oh, Tebow summoned some creature from the depths, and you see this little tiny thing pop its head out of the water. Like, I thought that was funny, but I thought the reveal was going to be that it actually was a massive creature, and that we were just seeing a little nub. And they're like, no, we need something bigger. And then he gets up on land, and it's just a fish, and he's like, how about now? And he's still tiny. I thought that was genuinely funny. I thought that felt like a much more modern kind of a joke to me. Like I would expect that in a current cartoon. So yeah, I like that quite a lot.
You telling that reminded me of, I thought, because when he came out, he kind of had a voice like really low. Yeah. And I was like, and you reminded me that when I was watching it and the giant creature appeared, I was like, oh, he's going to have like this, like, hey guys, hop on board, and they totally missed the mark.
Oh,
and,
that would have been funny.
He didn't have that, and I thought that would have been perfect, because that's what I was expecting. Like, oh, they had the tiny guy with the deep voice, and they're going to have this big guy with a tiny voice. They messed up.
That would have been a good one, too.
Yeah.
It's hard to rate this one, because I think it was pretty good. I guess I'm going to knock it down a little peg from last time, just based on the fact that it doesn't really feel Ewoky or Star Warsy. It's just a good 12-minute entertaining little short, So, but I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. Yeah. I think my son would have liked this one, and it's whatever. How about you?
I was thinking 4 too, because I do think that like when an episode doesn't feel Star Warsy or Ewoky at all, it's got to lose a lot of points.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like something like this, if it felt like an Ewok episode, I'd probably give it like a 4.5, 4.75, because it would have been good. It had the moral lesson, all those things, but it wasn't. It didn't feel like, you're right. Didn't feel like Ewoks. No. It didn't feel like Star Wars. It could have been anything. This could have been the Smurfs.
Exactly.
This could have been. It could have been the Care Bears. This would have been a typical Care Bears episode.
Yeah, it could.
Right, where the bad bear takes something from the land of Care Bears.
I was because it was underwater. I was getting a lot of like snork imagery in my mind, and even my little Ichiwawa guy had kind of a snorky vibe to him and his fins and stature and everything. But this is one where you could have erased the names and put in anything. You're absolutely right.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's gonna go down a notch. Looking back over our episodes, this is the first time you and I have done an episode, just the two of us, in a long time.
Really?
Yes, because we've had back guest stars.
Oh, no way. Yeah, we had who we have? We had Crystal first, right? Oh no, we had Jesse.
No. Yeah, Jesse for Christmas. Crystal for the Season Scepter, and then Eric and I did that comic book coffee break in the feed. Then we had the one with our kids, and then Sally was with us last time.
Sally was last time.
That's 5 in a row.
Whoa! Oh no,
that's a hot streak. That's a hot streak right there.
Yeah, for real.
So now we're back to it. Yep. All right, let's see. Where are we going to be next time? We're getting close. We're getting darn close to finishing this series. Let me tell you. But I'm looking forward to getting into droids.
I am too.
When we finally get there, because I haven't seen that since like the 80s. So I hope that it holds up. But anyway, next time here on This Endorian Life, we got more Ewoks coming your way. It's going to be episode 11A, Just My Luck.
Just My Luck.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it.
Same. See you then, my friend.
All right. Take it easy. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 902 Here We Go, 90s Music Got Me Like, and previously on X-Men. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter at Endorian Life. And please rate, subscribe, and share the show wherever you get your podcasts.
Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
Hello from the David A. Howe Public Library. I'm Nick.
I'm Allie.
In But Have You Tried, we're going to be exploring all the things that make us similar and the things that make us very different. You, for example, maybe didn't know who Jim Carrey was, or
maybe didn't. Yeah.
have never seen an Indiana Jones movie, and yet there are things about both of those that I know you will like because of this.
That's probably true.
Because of these shared things. What are you going to throw my way? What do you
gonna throw
test
your
me?
way?
What do I not? What do I not know?
Well, we were just talking about how you haven't watched Mrs. Maisel.
I haven't watched Mrs. Maisel. No.
In fact, it sounds like you've almost intentionally avoided Mrs. Maisel.
Listen, what else? Sprouts? You were talking about
Sprouts. Yeah, lentil
sprouts.
sprouts.
Lentil sprouts.
So
I don't understand. Is this like you put this in a salad? Are they like a
you
side
can put
dish?
them in a salad,
a main
or you
dish?
can put them on a sandwich.
Have you ever seen Back to the Future?
I have actually seen Back to the Future.
Oh, I'm kind of disappointed.
I know. Again, there's ways that our tastes overlap, but then there's also things like the fact that you have some kind of vendetta against Beverly Crusher that I just don't understand.
I just think she's a bad character. I just don't think there's anything there.
But what? Like how? I don't understand how you can see what I've seen and come to that conclusion.
I don't. It's Troy all the way. I don't know what to tell you. So how are we going to do this, Allie? You're going to suggest a thing to me, and then I'm going to have some time to explore that thing.
Whatever that thing may be.
In the middle of the episodes, we'll do sort of, what are you reading, what are you watching, what are you into this month?
Because how can we not?
And while that's happening, I'll be researching your thing, and then we'll come together, we'll talk about your thing, and then we'll end that episode with me telling you, okay, well, now you have to watch Magnum P.I. or Murder, She Wrote, something like that.
I have never watched Magnum P.I.
There you go. But have you tried?
I haven't.
The
Not yet.
podcast with Nick and Allie from the David A. Howe Public Library.